Cracker Barrel employees have had enough of watching customers order foods they know are disasters. Behind that country store facade and nostalgic branding lies a kitchen reality that would shock loyal customers who think they're eating home-style Southern cooking. The truth is frozen, reheated, and far from fresh. Current and former workers are breaking their silence about which menu items you should absolutely avoid. You walk into Cracker Barrel expecting grandma's cooking, biscuits made from scratch, gravy from sausage drippings, vegetables cooked with love. What you're actually getting is industrial food service products manufactured at processing facilities, frozen for weeks or months, then reheated by workers following corporate procedures designed for speed over quality. The home-style marketing is brilliant deception. Cracker Barrel has convinced millions of Americans that they're eating authentic Southern food, when the reality is frozen proteins, powdered gravies, pre-made sides, and vegetables that were processed months ago. Employees watch the disconnect daily, customers praising homemade food that came from a freezer truck that morning. The preparation shortcuts are systematic. Management trains workers to reheat efficiently, not cook properly. Time standards prioritize getting food out fast over letting it cook correctly. Quality control focuses on appearance and temperature, not whether the food actually tastes good or represents authentic Southern cooking. The pricing exploits the nostalgia factor. Cracker Barrel charges $12 to $16 for entrees that cost them $2 to $4 in frozen ingredients. You're paying for the rocking chairs, the country store, and the manufactured atmosphere, not for quality food. The profit margins are astronomical because actual food costs are minimal compared to what they charge. Today, I'm counting down the 10 worst foods to buy at Cracker Barrel according to employees who actually work there. From seafood disasters to meat quality issues to sides that come from bags and boxes, these menu items represent the gap between Cracker Barrel's marketing and kitchen reality. And stick around until the end. We've got 5 bonus menu items that are even more problematic than what made the main list. The bonus revelations about desserts and specials will shock you, especially since Cracker Barrel markets itself as a comfort food destination. Once you hear what employees won't eat, you'll never order the same way again. Number 10. Any fish or seafood. Let's start with the obvious disaster. Any seafood at Cracker Barrel, the fried catfish, shrimp, or Friday fish specials, is something employees universally avoid. It arrives frozen in plastic bags and sits in freezers for weeks before getting breaded and fried in oil that's reused until it turns dark brown. Here's what employees reveal about Cracker Barrel seafood. The fish isn't fresh-caught southern catfish from local waters. It's frozen industrial whitefish bought in bulk from the cheapest suppliers. Often it's mystery fish that could be any species from any country. By the time it reaches your plate, it's been frozen, possibly thawed and refrozen during shipping, then breaded and fried. The frying oil is the real concern. Cracker Barrel uses the same oil for fish, chicken, and various fried items. That oil gets reused constantly until it's nearly black and rancid. The oil smell alone should warn you, but most customers don't see the kitchen. Employees know that oil changes happen only when absolutely necessary to save costs. Shrimp arrives pre-cooked and frozen, gets reheated either by frying or sautéing in butter that sits in warmers. The shrimp quality is bottom tier, small rubbery pieces that taste more of freezer burn than actual shrimp. Former employees report finding shrimp with off smells, but being told to serve it anyway because throwing it away hurts food cost percentages. The markup on seafood is astronomical. Cracker Barrel pays maybe $3 of sealer for the frozen fish or shrimp in your entree, then charges $14 to $16 for the plate. Every employee interviewed said the same thing. Never order seafood at Cracker Barrel. If workers who handle it daily won't eat it, you shouldn't either. Number 9. Meatloaf. The meatloaf seems like a safe comfort food choice. Ground beef with traditional seasonings baked into a loaf. Employees call it mystery meat surprise. This isn't ground beef mixed with breadcrumbs and eggs in-house. It's pre-made meatloaf manufactured at processing facilities, frozen in loaves, and reheated to order. Former Cracker Barrel cooks reveal the meatloaf reality. It arrives frozen in vacuum-sealed plastic. The meat quality is questionable. Heavily processed ground meat product containing fillers, binders, and extenders to maximize profit margins. The texture is uniform and spongy because it's been mechanically mixed and formed. You're eating industrial meat products shaped like meatloaf, not actual homemade meatloaf. The reheating process destroys whatever quality existed. Frozen meatloaf gets heated in ovens or microwaves depending on the rush, then is plated with brown gravy that comes from powder mix. The texture is dense and rubbery from being cooked once at the factory, frozen, then reheated. Real meatloaf is tender and moist. This version is neither. The gravy served with it is the same powdered brown gravy used throughout the menu. It's not made from meat drippings. It's reconstituted powder designed to mask the poor quality of whatever protein it covers. The gravy sits in warmers for entire shifts, developing a skin on top that gets stirred back in rather than discarded. The sides that accompany the meatloaf are similarly problematic. The mashed potatoes are instant potatoes from powder or flakes. The green beans are canned vegetables heated and seasoned. Nothing on the plate represents actual home-style cooking. You're paying $12.13 for frozen meatloaf with instant sides, food you could buy cheaper in the frozen aisle at grocery stores. Number 8. Country fried steak. This southern classic becomes a quality disaster at Cracker Barrel. The country fried steak isn't actual steak. It's mechanically tenderized beef product formed into steak shapes at processing facilities. It arrives frozen in boxes and gets breaded with commercial coating, fried in reused oil, and covered in powdered gravy. The steak is bottom-tier beef that's been so heavily processed, it barely qualifies as steak. Mechanically separated meat scraps get pounded, flattened, and formed into uniform shapes. The texture is wrong, too uniform, too spongy. This processed patty feels like cafeteria food because that's essentially what it is. The frying happens in oil that's cooked hundreds of items, so your country fried steak absorbs fishy undertones and burnt flavors from degraded oil. The white pepper gravy comes from powder that workers mix with water, not made from scratch with flour, milk, and pan drippings. Employees report stretching gravy with extra water when supplies run low, making it even more watery and flavorless. A single order contains over 1,100 calories, 65 plus grams of fat, and 3,000 basilumars of sodium. You're eating heavily processed beef product fried in degraded oil and covered in flour paste. Former employees universally recommend avoiding country fried steak. Number 7. Chicken and dumplings. This seems like the ultimate comfort food: tender chicken and creamy broth with fluffy dumplings. The reality is canned soup consistency with rubbery chicken and doughy dumplings that bear no resemblance to traditional Southern cooking. Employees reveal this dish is pre-made at commissaries and reheated in store. The chicken isn't slow-cooked whole chicken picked from the bone. It's pre-cooked, frozen chicken pieces that get added to the dumpling mixture. The chicken quality is poor, often tough, stringy, and dry from being overcooked at the manufacturing facility, then reheated again at the restaurant. The chicken texture resembles rubber bands, not tender braised chicken. The dumplings are flat, doughy rectangles that sink to the bottom, rather than fluffy drop dumplings that traditional recipes produce. They're made from commercial dough that gets mass-produced and frozen. The texture is gummy and heavy because they're designed for industrial production, not authentic cooking methods. The broth is the worst part. It's not made from chicken stock simmered with vegetables and herbs. It's a thick, paste-like sauce that's more flour and milk than actual broth. The consistency resembles wallpaper paste more than traditional dumpling broth. The sodium content is astronomical to compensate for the lack of actual flavor from properly made stock. Former workers report this dish sits in warmers for extended periods, getting thicker and gummier as moisture evaporates. By the time it reaches your table during slow periods, the dumplings have absorbed all the liquid and turned into a congealed mass. You're paying $10 for something that tastes like bad canned soup with mystery chicken. Number 6. Grilled chicken. Tenderloins. Grilled chicken seems like a healthier option. Lean protein without the breading and frying. Employees know it's still processed chicken that arrives frozen and often gets overcooked into dry, flavorless rubber. The quality doesn't match the premium pricing. The chicken tenderloins aren't fresh chicken breasts trimmed and grilled to order. They're preformed chicken tender products made from mechanically separated chicken, pressed into tender shapes. The meat is processed chicken bits bound together with additives. The texture is too consistent. Real chicken breasts have natural variation. The marination is industrial flavoring solution injected at processing facilities, not actual marinating with herbs and spices. The flavor is engineered, not earned through proper seasoning and cooking technique. The grilling process often involves pre-cooking in ovens, then finishing on the grill just long enough to create grill marks. This double cooking ensures the chicken is thoroughly overcooked and dried out. The pricing is insulting for the quality delivered. Cracker Barrel charges $10 to $12 for these processed frozen chicken tenders. You're paying premium prices for industrial chicken products that cost them maybe $2. Number 5. Pot roast. Pot roast should be beef slowly braised until tender with vegetables and rich gravy. At Cracker Barrel, it's pre-cooked frozen beef reheated in gravy, served with overcooked vegetables from bags. Former employees reveal this dish represents everything wrong with Cracker Barrel's approach to home-style cooking. The beef isn't roasted in-house, it's pre-cooked at processing facilities, frozen and shipped to restaurants. The meat quality is questionable bottom round or chuck roast, often containing significant amounts of fat and gristle. The cooking process at the factory overcooks it, then reheating at the restaurant overcooks it again. The result is dried out beef with tough, stringy texture rather than fall-apart tender pot roast. The vegetables accompanying the pot roast are frozen mixed vegetables from industrial bags, carrots, potatoes, onions, all pre-cut and processed months ago. They get heated in the same gravy as the meat, turning mushy and flavorless. Traditional pot roast involves vegetables that retain some texture. This version is baby food consistency from being overcooked twice. The gravy is commercial brown gravy from powder or concentrate, not made from the pot roast drippings. It's designed to mask the poor quality beef while adding enough salt to create flavor where none exists naturally. The gravy sits in warmers getting thicker and developing a skin that gets stirred back in periodically. Employees report the pot roast generates significant complaints from customers because it doesn't match expectations. The meat is tough, the vegetables are mushy, and the overall dish tastes like something from a cafeteria rather than home-style cooking. For $12.13, you're getting reheated frozen beef with institutional vegetables, not comfort food worth the price. Number 4. Hash brown casserole. This popular side dish seems like a safe choice. Crispy hash browns baked with cheese. Employees reveal it's frozen pre-made casserole that gets heated and served. While it's not the worst item quality-wise, understanding what you're actually eating matters. The hash brown casserole arrives frozen in large pans from commissaries. It's not made fresh in-house from shredded potatoes, cheese, and seasonings. It's industrial casserole manufactured in large batches, frozen and distributed. The ingredients are bottom tier, frozen potato shreds, processed cheese product, and lots of sodium. The preparation simply involves taking a frozen pan, heating it in ovens, and portioning it onto plates. The crispy top you enjoy was created at the manufacturing facility, not in the Cracker Barrel kitchen. Every restaurant serves identical product because it's centrally produced. The nutritional profile is concerning. A side portion contains over 400 calories, 25 plus grams of fat, and 900 millimolars of sodium. Cracker Barrel charges $5 for a side of frozen casserole that costs them pennies per serving. Number 3. Chicken and rice. This menu item sounds wholesome. Chicken with rice and gravy. The reality is mystery chicken scraps and heavily salted gravy over rice that's been sitting in warmers for hours. Employees rank this among the worst items because everything about it is bottom-tier quality. The chicken isn't breast meat, it's processed chicken bits, mechanically separated chicken, or whatever chicken scraps the supplier had available. The pieces are irregular sizes and odd textures because they're not from consistent cuts. Some pieces are gristly, others fatty, and most lack the texture of real chicken breast. The rice is cooked in large batches during prep periods, then held in warmers until needed. By dinner service, you're eating rice that's been held at warming temperature for 4 to 6 hours. The texture is dried out and hard around the edges from moisture evaporation. The middle is often congealed into a solid mass. Fresh cooked rice is fluffy in separate grains. This version is clumped and dried out. The gravy is the same powdered brown gravy used elsewhere on the menu, heavily salted to create flavor where none exists. It's designed to mask the poor quality chicken and dried out rice while providing enough sodium to trigger taste receptors. A single serving contains over 2,500 millimolars of sodium, more than a full day's recommended intake. Former employees report this dish gets ordered frequently by customers seeking a lighter option compared to fried foods. The irony is the sodium content makes it arguably worse for your health than many fried items. You're eating sodium soup with mystery chicken and dried rice, paying $10.11 for something nutritionally disastrous. Number 2. Fried chicken livers. Here's a menu item that sounds authentically Southern, but becomes a quality nightmare at Cracker Barrel. Chicken livers are incredibly perishable and require careful handling and fresh preparation. Cracker Barrel serves frozen livers fried in degraded oil, a combination that guarantees disappointing and potentially risky results. The chicken livers arrive frozen in bags, not fresh from a butcher. Liver quality degrades rapidly during freezing and thawing, often developing off flavors and mealy texture. By the time frozen livers reach Cracker Barrel, get thawed, breaded, and fried, the quality has deteriorated significantly. The livers get coated in commercial breading mix and fried in oil that's cooked dozens of other items. The liver flavor becomes overwhelming as frying concentrates the organ meat taste. Many customers find the flavor too strong, too irony, or just plain off-putting. Employees report chicken livers generate significant complaints and returns. Workers end up throwing away partially eaten orders regularly because customers can't finish them. The food safety risk is concerning. Livers require more careful temperature control than muscle meat. You're gambling with food safety every time you order organ meats at chains that don't specialize in them. For $8.09, you're getting frozen organ meat fried in questionable oil. If you want chicken livers, find a restaurant that specializes in traditional Southern cooking with fresh livers prepared properly. Don't order them at chains using frozen products and assembly line preparation methods. Number 1. The daily lunch or dinner specials. Here's the absolute worst thing to order at Cracker Barrel according to employees: any daily special or seasonal menu item. These promotions sound appealing: new dishes, limited time offerings, seasonal favorites. The reality is they're experiments using whatever ingredients corporate got bulk discounts on, prepared by staff with minimal training. Former managers reveal how Cracker Barrel develops special menu items. Corporate creates recipes using ingredients from suppliers offering promotional pricing or bulk discounts. The focus isn't what tastes good, but what can we source cheaply and market effectively. Your seasonal special is built around vendor deals, not culinary creativity or quality ingredients. The training for specials is minimal. Staff receives brief instructions or recipe cards, then must prepare new dishes during busy services while juggling regular menu items. The result is massive inconsistency. One location might prepare it somewhat correctly, another completely botches the execution. You're gambling every time you order a special. The ingredient quality for specials is particularly concerning because Cracker Barrel is buying items they don't normally stock from suppliers they may not have established relationships with. Quality control is weaker. Storage. Procedures are unclear. Workers don't know proper handling for unfamiliar ingredients. That special sauce might be sitting improperly stored for 2 weeks until used up. The biggest problem is low turnover. Daily specials don't sell as many orders as regular menu items. Those special ingredients sit in walk-in coolers or freezers for extended periods, potentially going bad. Employees report being pressured to use ingredients regardless of quality degradation because throwing food away impacts profit margins. That beef burgundy special? The burgundy sauce has been in a container for a week, developing off flavors. Multiple former workers describe watching managers scrape mold off special ingredients and use the rest, serving fish that smells questionable because it's been stored too long, or preparing dishes with vegetables that are wilted and brown. The pressure to use everything regardless of condition overrides food safety and quality concerns. The markup on specials is typically higher than regular items because corporate knows customers are intrigued by novelty. You're paying $14 to $17 for experimental dishes made with discounted or degraded ingredients prepared by undertrained staff. Every employee interviewed said, stick to basic menu items that workers know how to prepare with ingredients that turn over regularly. We exposed 10 worst foods, but the problems run deeper. Here are 5 more menu items employees warn against. Bonus 1. Coca-Cola cake. The desserts look homemade but arrive frozen from commercial bakeries. The Coca-Cola cake is pre-made dessert, manufactured in large batches, frozen, and shipped. It's thawed and portioned in-store, not baked fresh. The texture is often soggy from improper thawing, and the frosting is overly sweet to mask freezer burn flavors. You're paying $5, $6 for frozen cake you could buy cheaper at grocery stores. Bonus 2. Vegetable soup. The soup arrives in bags, frozen soup that gets heated and held in warmers. During slow periods, soup sits at warming temperature for entire shifts, developing odd textures and flavors. The vegetables turn mushy from extended heat. Employees report watering down soup when it reduces too much, making it increasingly flavorless. The sodium content is astronomical to compensate for the lack of actual vegetable flavor. Bonus 3. Grilled pork chops. During dinner rush. While pork chops can be acceptable during slow periods, during dinner rush they're often pre-cooked and held in warmers to speed service. Your grilled-to-order chop might be 30 to 60 minutes old, reheated on the grill briefly for appearance. The result is dried out, tough pork that requires sauce or gravy just to be edible. Order pork chops only during slow periods if you must order them at all. Bonus 4. Any lighter twist or wholesome fixins item. When Cracker Barrel markets items as healthier options, employees know it means they've reduced portion sizes while charging similar prices. The lighter versions use the same, processed ingredients with maybe egg whites instead of whole eggs or artificial sweetener instead of sugar. The sodium content remains high because the base ingredients are the same processed products. You're paying the same price for less food, not actually healthier food. Bonus 5. Coffee or tea. During late night. The coffee and tea during morning and afternoon is acceptable, fresh brewed and consumed quickly. Late night? You're drinking coffee that's been sitting since dinner rush or earlier. It's burnt, bitter, and old. Employees report being told to keep serving old coffee to avoid waste. That fresh brewed claim at 10 p.m. means it was brewed at 5 p.m. and has been on the burner for 5 hours. You've now heard from employees about the 10 worst foods at Cracker Barrel, plus 5 bonus items to avoid. The pattern is undeniable. The home-style marketing is fiction. The country cooking claims are false advertising. The fresh-made implications contradict kitchen reality. Everything is frozen, reheated, and industrially produced. The fundamental problem is Cracker Barrel's business model requires industrial food service approach while marketing home-style authenticity. They can't cook real Southern food fresh in every location while maintaining their profit margins and consistency standards. So they manufacture everything centrally, freeze it, and reheat at restaurants while deceiving customers with nostalgic branding. Employees watch this deception daily. They see customers praising homemade biscuits that came from frozen boxes. They hear people compliment fresh vegetables that were frozen months ago. The disconnect between marketing and reality is massive, and workers are tired of being complicit in the lie. The solution requires making smarter choices. If you must eat at Cracker Barrel, stick to simple items that are harder to mess up. Avoid anything marketed as home-style or traditional. Those are the most deceiving. Skip seafood, organ meats, and any specials. Order during busy periods when food turnover is faster. Better yet, learn to cook basic Southern food at home. Biscuits require flour, buttermilk, and butter. 3 ingredients in 20 minutes. Real chicken and dumplings takes time but isn't complicated. Pot roast involves seasoning beef and letting it braise. These are accessible cooking projects that deliver superior results to anything Cracker Barrel serves. If you want authentic Southern cooking, find local restaurants run by people who actually cook. They exist in most Southern states, small operations that make biscuits from scratch, cook vegetables properly, and prepare proteins fresh. Yes, they cost similar to Cracker Barrel, but you're paying for actual cooking instead of corporate theater. Share this information with friends and family who regularly eat at Cracker Barrel, believing they're getting home-style cooking. They deserve to know the truth, that they're paying premium prices for frozen food reheated by minimum wage workers following corporate reheating procedures. Now, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the hidden menu and tell us in the comments, have you had bad experiences with these Cracker Barrel items? Will you change what you order? At the Hidden Menu, we believe in food transparency, honest marketing, and calling out chains that deceive customers with false branding. Stop accepting frozen factory food disguised as grandma's cooking.